something I forgot.
Oh, see, I know this. We have technical issues. Oh, nice.
Call me Snake.
See, I thought about wearing one, but I was like, oh, people are going to be watching it. They're going to mock me, and they're going to make
shit!
fun.
You think they'll mock me now?
No, because you're in charge. You've got this big boss thing going on.
That's right. I'm in charge. Number one. Number one.
Number one.
All right, I'll do an impression and see if you know who it is. Get your own beer, swab.
Oh, Captain Ron.
Yeah.
Yes. I knew it was going to come up one day, Captain Ron. I'm going to remember to hit play. Tell me when to start. I'm ready for this, baby.
I think if I'm going to keep this on or not, because I can't see my depth perception off, which is exactly the problem Kurt Russell had. Yeah.
We'll just flick it up every now and again.
Like Captain Ron does. Swap sides.
And then halfway through the film, just switch it to the other side.
Oh, hang on. There's someone called Off the Shelf Reviews.
Off the Shelf Reviews in the house. Yes, fist bump. That would be my my co-host, Gary Nichols. He said he was going to sit back and try to enjoy the show. But yeah, I already messaged him and I was just like, I'm hoping the lighting's worked and the dead space is covered and obviously that. Like, you know. No. Ready to hit play?
Hang on, I'll say hello to Galnero.
Yes.
Perella. Right, I'll press play on mine and we'll see where it is. 'Cause it might.
Okay, cool.
As you know, with VHS, they're unpredictable.
No, yeah, that's true. I had to skip through the DVD intro and everything because I was like, oh, that's not going to be on the VHS. So I'm waiting for the intro to come up on yours so then I can hit play immediately.
Yeah, we're getting static.
See.
Budget label.
See, I think I had that one once before, but I did manage to get the other type of.
Oh, you got that one.
Yeah.
Fancy one. I think I had the Channel 5 one originally.
Oh, nice.
But I've only got the forefront now.
Yeah, I remember having that cover, but I think I got rid of it, and then I ended up buying another one, and then buying more the DVD version of it. Okay, Avco Embassy. There we go.
Oh, hang on, we're off.
We're playing. Yeah, the music.
There's a different speed, but never mind.
That's fine. Like I said, I'm probably going to watch yours on this screen, and I thought I've actually got it on this screen. I'm staring at this little screen like.
Yeah, well, I'll sit there looking at this when I got a perfectly good widescreen HD version right next to me.
Oh man, this movie! We were saying before, obviously we started. We have not reviewed this on Off the Shelf Reviews, and it's just crazy because we know the audience wants it because they know that Gary and I are massive, huge John Carpenter fans. You know, we just love every single one of the movies. But the fact that, like, I've always said, like, this movie we know is good. I could do this movie with my fucking eyes closed and quote it. There's just nothing where. Like things like Ankle Biters and Tekken 2 and Leeches. Nobody watches those films. You have to experience those.
Well, that's a shocking. Maybe man. Oh, hang on. Right. I'm way behind on the chat. The legend of Tom Atkins is in this, of course. Is this his first Carpenter with a mustache?
Oh, man. Was the Fog after the... Yeah, the Fog was after this.
Yeah.
Harry Dean Stanton, man. Good old Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah.
We recently watched him in that is the David Lynch movie. I think it's like 3 hours long. Inland. It's the 3 hour long one David Lynch movie. I've completely forgotten the title.
Inland Revenue.
And he just turns up and he's talking to people about how he's lost his job and he needs money. And he plays the whole scene to each people and he takes money off them. Oh. And we joked that like that was all real. Like Harry Dean Stanton at this point didn't have a job, so he just turned up on set one day. David Lynch stuck a camera in his face, and he was like, "Give me money," you know.
That's pretty much that, yeah.
Like after this, before this, he did Alien, so he'd already been killed by an alien, and in he's been sent to New York. You know.
I think my tablet's gone the way of. The close-ups of clean.
got a bit of a fuzz going on there. Don't worry, I'll keep going. It's directed by John Carpenter.
Is it?
You know, 1988, the future of 1988. The crime rate in America has risen by 400%.
Yes. Oh, and whose voice are we hearing?
This is Deborah Hill's voice, I believe it is.
No.
Is it not?
No.
Whose voice is it?
Jamie Lee.
Oh, shit.
I do have similar accents. I heard an interview with her, Deborah Hill, the other day, this morning. I without looking, I could have sworn they're from the same place anyway.
I always thought it was Deborah Hill doing the voice because in The Thing they got Adrienne Barbeau to do the voice for the computer at the beginning.
Jamie Lee does the voice intro and the computer voices apparently.
I love this shot. I love this view.
Right, Robert Allen's here. Hello. Off the shelves, UG.
Man, I got such a wonderful story for this, and I kept saving it for the review, but now I'm doing this. I might as well say it. 1997, the future again. Like when I must have been about 8 years old. At home. It's the 80s. Your parents could leave you at home on your own while they went off to work at night, and I remember vividly watching a reviewer on BBC Two late one night. I think it was a Saturday or Sunday night. It's this reviewer. And it was a 10-minute little talk about Escape from New York. And I had no idea what was it. I was just flicking through the channels looking for something. And he's talking about the bridge. I think it's the Brooklyn Bridge. Saying about how Carpenter had used it, the city of New York as this persona. And he's doing this review before the movie starts. And there was something about the reviewer talking about this movie that made me go, oh, I need to see this movie. And then the movie started like straight after. And I was in it, I'm following this camera shot coming up, looking at the city of New York. I'm 8 years old. I've never been to New York, never known about it. But my mind's like, I don't want to go there. It's a prison. They turned it into prison. And I just fell in love with this movie from this moment on. Like I would see The Thing a few years later and I'd realized that John Carpenter had done both. And all of a sudden I'm like, holy fucking shit, this guy makes two of the greatest movies ever made. And then from then on, it was just, John Carpenter all the way, baby.
Yeah, was that Movie Drone? Do you think you were watching?
I dropped my microphone.
Amateurs.
Man.
Right, hang on. Who's this?
They're trying to get out.
Oh, we're a bit behind. Thank you, Mr. Perella.
Cheers, boys.
Oh, tasty. So yeah, we just missed the one shot that was actually filmed in New York.
Yeah.
They were the first people to be allowed to film at the Statue of Liberty.
Yes, they managed to get it at night. I mean, that was the best time for filmmaking back in the 70s and 80s. You filmed everything at night. And then it made everything look realistic. The same with Dawn of the Dead, in the mall, And for some reason, film companies just went, oh, no, John Carpenter can't make movies. Yes.
I'm getting dissed here by DVD and Film.
Oh, I don't know who it is.
He likes you, so that's all right. Evening, Mr. Campbell.
What up, Campbell? Our boy Campbell from New Zealand.
There you go. He loves your reviews.
Well, we've been working on it for 10 years. After 10 years, you think we'd be good at it by now. But Jesus, every morning you kind of
success at all. They're rubbish.
Well, every morning you kind of wake up and you're scrolling through the comments of everybody praising how good the review was, and we take all the time and effort to edit them and stuff. And then there's always one asshat. There's always one asshat who's just like, no, I didn't like this film. This was absolutely terrible. And I'm like, why did you? Why? I was feeling good because I've done some good work, and now you're telling me that the work's not good. Now I've got to question everything I'm doing.
Oh no!
All over again.
Well, ignore my comments.
See, I do, because it's very easy just to go there and just delete them and just be, you never existed. But then you kind of use it as fire, don't you? You go, right, okay, I'm going to keep going. 20 other people have told me it's great, so I'm going to keep doing what these other people do. And you're just the one asshat who can just stand over in the corner like Blair Witch.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
Oh.
Kurt motherfucking
we missed the 10 minutes bank robbery that was in the original cut because people didn't understand what was happening and why he was in the rest of the film.
I mean, is it needed?
No.
Is it needed? I've seen it. Yeah, it doesn't really do anything. Like I said, as a kid, when you just saw this guy turn up with the eye patch, and this armed guard, you're thinking, shit, this guy's trouble.
Yeah, and then he reads off the list of stuff he's done, and you think,
yeah. So I got to bring it up as well before the film gets too far in. You've never played a Metal Gear Solid game?
I have now. 2 minutes of it.
That's not played. You watched the cut sequence of Metal Gear Solid.
No, I started on the GameCube, and I started off in this room with a pool and guards coming. And I don't have any weapons. So I thought, fuck this shit.
Man, if I could reach through this camera, man. The idea, obviously, for Metal Gear all comes from Snake Plissken. I'm pointing at my camera, but nobody can see it. The same with Snake Plissken. And after seeing Escape from New York, him going in, he's not armed he's not armed in the games, but he's armed in this. But it's the idea of stealth. Metal Gear relies on stealth.
Oh, that's why I hate it then.
Wait. You and Gary have probably gone so far because he hates stealth too. And I'm like, patience, just.
I have, 20 to 30 minutes tops a day, lucky, if I can play a game. 3 online levels of Call of Duty.
Oh, but no, I'm sorry. As we're talking, if you've only got 30 minutes, you got to buy the Evil Dead game. Perfect. 30-minute sections, 30-minute games those are.
Friday the 13th until they took the servers down.
That's it.
I should get that, yeah.
Friday the 13th was really good, and I was going to get it, and then the servers got, the copyright and all that problem happened. Yeah. Evil Dead, the game, it's come out recently. It's been such a surprise to me because it was only £30, which I was like, ooh, that's cheap. What are we looking at here? But the online multiplayer, it's got a tough learning curve, but if you're playing Call of Duty, then obviously you can play online. It's got some mad games. You get to play as the evil, you get to be the demons, and you get to kill the survivors. And then when you get to play as there's 4 different Bruce Campbells you can play as.
4 different chins.
4 different chins. How good is that? David 14.
Yeah, I don't have the embassy tape of this, unfortunately. I thought I had another version, but I don't. I've only got this basic 4. But we won't mention LA at all, but we could have gone to Mars.
Oh, good old Ghost of Mars. I've recently come up with an equation, and it might be a bit biased, but I've recently come up with an equation to apply for films. Okay, so if you rate a film out of 10, 0 being really, really bad, 10 being the absolute best. You add 3 points if it's directed by John Carpenter. 3 to 4. I'm being fair. 3 to 4. You had 3 to 4 points if it's directed by John Carpenter. You add 3 to 4 points if it stars Kurt Russell. And you add 3 to 4 points if the music itself was done by John Carpenter. So okay, I'll show. So Escape from New York, obviously, directed by John Carpenter. That's 3 points. Stars Kurt Russell. That's 3 points. And the music's done by Kurt Russell, by John Carpenter. Sorry. So that's 3 points. 9 out of 10 movie. Done. Saving Private Ryan. We'll do the same equation. Directed by John Carpenter? No. Stars Kurt Russell? No. Music done by John Carpenter? No. So you're looking at least, a 5, 6 out of 10?
Hang on, the only difference between this film and this one is...
Okay, so Ghost of Mars. 3 points because it's directed by John Carpenter. 3 points because the music's done by John Carpenter. So you're looking at least a 6 out of 10 movie.
Yeah. Okay, well, Ice Cube is the real Snake Plissken in my book. So.
Ice Cube. I love how Ice Cube is basically... he's like the future Napoleon Wilson, because obviously Assault from Precinct 13 came out first. And you had Napoleon Wilson in that. And he's basically the birthplace of Snake Plissken, the criminal that you don't know the background of, and what's this guy done? He's so evil. And then they go into Snake Plissken, Escape from New York, and then you go to Ghost of Mars, and Desolation Williams is basically Napoleon crossed with Plissken.
I wish they had given him an eye patch in that. So
For years, when Ghost of Mars came out, we swore, a few of us swore that evil guy in that was Marilyn Manson.
Yes.
But it's not. But it's not.
Oh, he's on the back.
Oh, it's they're ghost spirits on Mars.
I didn't write it.
No, but it's done by John Carpenter, so it's 6 out of 10 at least.
I did see something in a video earlier. I watched your Rogue review, and in the background there was a little film on your DVD rack called Lockout.
Lockout with Guy Ritchie.
No, Guy Pearce.
Oh, Guy Pearce. Sorry, Guy Pearce. We did that film about 7 or 8 years ago. It was one of the first few reviews that we ever did. And Gary says, we're going to do this movie, Lockout, by Guy Pearce. And I'm like, I've never heard of it. And this was before I started to wiki my movies. And I wiki all my movies. I know it's a crime. I know it's a sin.
I might add stuff to your next when I find out the next review.
Yeah, when somebody goes, have you ever seen this? I immediately go to Wikipedia, see if it's got any history, got any story, and then I read the plot to see if I'll enjoy it. You know, it's how I realized I should never watch Serbian film. And Gary said, we're going to watch Lockout, and I sat down and I watched it, and it looked really bad. But man, I was, pardon my French, but I was fucking crying with laughter every time Guy Pearce came out with some kind of line, because he just owned the entire movie. I just had to see him all the way through. There's that part where he turns to the girl and he's just like, here's some food, here's some gun, off you go. He's looking at him like, really? And he's just like, yeah, just off you go, because he was going to go off and do something else, and then he realizes, oh yeah, she'll die, I best stay with her.
It was a good throwback.
I loved it. Loved this scene.
Oh, hang on, right, because Lee Van Cleef's close-ups are all supposed to be blurry, but I have never noticed.
I'm looking at the TV, so it's so pristine at my shot, I could stare.
Yeah, right there. Carpenter fired the DP or whatever, the cameraman, because and then they found out
they were fuzzy. Guys,
they couldn't get Lee Van Cleef back because he's limping all the time in this. He couldn't walk far.
I always imagine that because there's many shots where he is just literally stood still or he's sitting down.
He was a big name back then.
When I first actually saw this, until I was about 15, I thought that this guy with the hair was Michael Biehn.
I can see that. I can see that.
And then years later, it was like, no, it's the guy from Assault on Precinct 13 who shot the kid. I was like, oh, wow, he's great. He's such a great actor.
This isn't a place to applaud Snake up here. This is...
Well, we can praise Video Tasties as well. Everybody...
Right, turning this off. We're not watching it.
Okay, you go. I'll carry on. I'll talk for him. Man, like the tension is just done so well. Where like Snake's not even gone in at this point.
No, where is he?
Snake's sitting in a cell at this point. You know, he's just waiting to go in there, and they're just like, oh, by the way, the president's in there, and you know, if he dies, we're all kind of screwed. And it's the whole importance of Lee Van Cleef's character. Like he owns this. Oh man, this scene, this fucking scene.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Look, he's got a gun and
he's dangerous.
From one set where it's all computers and digital readouts, and to his office, it's all wood paneling and
classic
Corinthian leather.
Commander. Like he actually, those weapons in the background, Lee Van Cleef actually used. That's how old he is.
What's your name?
Call me Snake.
Pliskin.
SD Bob Pliskin.
That's a very raggedy jacket he's got on.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
Yeah, was it Dean Cundy was a cinematographer on this, and then he used a brand new lens that let in more light. So they had a lot of night shooting, and it was very useful.
Yeah.
Or something, I don't know.
I'm ready to kick your ass out of the world, Pliskin. Snake's like, I don't give a fuck. Do it.
Hero.
Like, How did he lose his eye? How the fuck did he lose his eye? That's what I want to know. And this goes back as well to how amazing the Metal Gear Solid sequence, Metal Gear Solid series of games is that Hideo Kojima would use the idea of Escape from New York for the games. You know, this one guy, this lone guy going in against this whole army and making his way past them and fighting his way back out again and, you know, kicking ass.
Oh, there is fighting in it. That's good.
Oh, seriously. Once you get past the first 10 minutes of the game, okay, you'll get a gun. And then, but you always want to avoid combat because you'll just get wiped out by everybody. But there are moments where you'll have to fight bosses and things like, just like in this film where he fights a guy in a boxing ring. But it's not until Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, which, and this will blow your mind, is actually a prequel to Metal Gear Solid and tells the story of Big Boss, who is the father of Solid Snake. And it's Big Boss who gets shot in the eye and has to wear an eye patch. And obviously Hideo Kojima had already made the likeness of Snake, Solid Snake, to look like Snake Plissken. So then when he makes Big Boss, who's technically the clone father to Solid Snake, they Snake Plissken with the eye patch, and it all just kind of it's you gotta fucking play Metal Gear Solid, man. Why don't more people play Metal Gear Solid?
I'm gonna go and play it because you don't need me here. Everyone's just talking about you. Look at this. About the people I'm able to get.
Hey, well, man, I'm just like, I'll big you up. I'm really thankful for you. Obviously, you asked me to come on the show. Obviously, we met through our friend Campbell. It was his birthday, and then obviously you mentioned about your film channel, so I was checking you out. And it's always been an idea of Gary's and I's to obviously network with people, but it's always trying to coordinate the right times, the right project. I mean, like about 5 or 6 years ago, we had John St. John come to our hometown. John St. John is the voice of Duke Nukem, the video game. And I asked him what his favorite movie was when we met him. And he told me it was The Incredibles. And I had this whole idea of saving up money and sending it to him so that we could do a video chat call. And then we could do something like this where we watch The Incredibles and we review it and talk like that. And just life comes along and kicks you in the nuts and you can't do anything. So the most you can do is get a camera, the film, a beer, and sit down and be like, let's go. Oh, man. But I was very fortunate as well last year to be able to watch this on the big screen at our local cinema as well. Yeah. And this year, if you have not checked, Gareth, and if nobody in the chat has checked, check your local View Cinema, because on the 29th of October, they are showing the 40th anniversary of The Thing on the big screen.
40th anniversary, I remember it coming out.
Yeah. It's my 40th birthday too, so I'm like I've said to people, once I see The Thing on a big screen, I'll probably never go cinema ever again. Like, how do you get bigger than the greatest fucking sci-fi movie of all time?
Nice 4K restoration, is it?
Oh yeah.
Right. Well. Thank you. A bit of love for my channel as well. Thank you. Oh, so you can go in gun blazing in Metal Gear Solid, but it's designed for stealth. See, I play Hitman, and I leave no person left alive.
Okay, but I play Hitman, and it's kind of obvious what's happened. The man's walked in with 2 guns and blown everybody away. You know, like Hitman Blood Money was always my favorite. Going in there and actually, dropping like chandeliers on them or poisoning them their food and walking past them as they die. So you just walk out the level.
Oh, is it?
Man, I gotta say, I've always loved this doctor. This doctor character. Like, without him, Snake would never know. Snake would never know he's got the bomb in his neck. But the doctor's just like, you've got to tell him. It's like, oh, okay.
Except it was going to be a fake out in the end, wasn't it? But then they used that for the second film.
Yeah. For me, it kind of works for the second film. This one works with the... Because, going back to Metal Gear Solid, Kojima uses the same idea that once the game starts, you've got 24 hours before they launch nukes.
Right.
And it opens up World War III. So you are kind of against the clock to get the codes, to stop the bombs, to save the world, blah, blah, blah. It's
Okay, there you go.
I love John Carpenter. I love Snake Plissken. I love Metal Gear Solid. It's a thing. I've got a thing.
Another fan for you.
What up, Mark? Fist bumping all the shelfers. We call them shelfers. I'm making Gareth an honorary shelfer right now, so he doesn't have to be a shelfer if he wants. But
put some shelves up here. I need a nice rack by VHS. If you know any good shelfers.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. That's where the idea came from. Is we were coming up with the idea for the YouTube channel, and it just came. A friend of ours came up with the idea of what about off the shelf, because you take the films off the shelf and you watch them, and so it all just came from that. Our old videos in Gary's old living place, space flat, I suppose. He had a whole shelving unit with all his films on, so we used to arrange them in for the films, like kind of what you've done. Because I can see Halloween. Was that Halloween H2O? Halloween 5 on video. Halloween 4.
What?
Man up an Alligator. Why is Alligator there? Alligator's not John Carpenter. It's a great film.
Subtle hit, because I saw Rogue earlier, and you said that Alligator was your favorite monster.
I do love it. I do love it, Alligator.
I loves it as much as me. So
our Halloween series. Oh man, I am not looking forward to Halloween Ends. I'm just gonna say.
I don't think anyone is anymore, are they?
I'm wikiing the shit out of that movie when it hits, and I'll be ready. Everybody else is gonna pay money to go see it. Halloween Kills was bad. I love Halloween. I love Halloween 2, the original, not Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, where he speaks. The original Halloween 1 and 2, it works. Michael Myers comes out the room on fire, falls down dead. Boom. The idea that John Carpenter had with Halloween 3, I think was very ahead of its time, and nobody got it.
Pretty much like all his films in the 80s, isn't it?
yeah, all ahead of the time. And so they decided to bring Michael back, and so that's when we got 4, and we got 5, and we got 6, 7, 8. We had Busta Rhymes kicking him out the window. We had Jamie Lee Curtis coming back like 7 times, you know. And I get it. I like Michael Myers. You know, I fucking Halloween there. Look, still got the VHS.
Oh, look, the Channel 5 one.
I got the Thing VHS as well.
I got the Thing. I'll get my Thing out.
But just
it's the same one.
Like Halloween 2016 worked, and that was it. That should have been the end. And Halloween Kills was filmed at a really difficult time because we're in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
I've got such fucking problems with that movie. not as many as I've got with Ghostbusters Afterlife, but a few.
Oh dear. Okay. So who did the lovely matte paintings of New York and backgrounds and stuff?
I believe it was James Cameron.
Mr. Jimmy Cameron.
Cameron. 3 years before he would steal the idea from Twilight Zone to make a cybernetic robot from the future.
Allegedly.
And that brings me to Terminator Dark Fate. What a pile of fucking shit that was.
3 hours is a long drive, yes.
Man. I took my wife to see Terminator Dark Fate, and it kind of hurt me because James Cameron sat in front of the camera and was thanking us for coming to the cinema to watch this film, that like he enjoyed the production value, and it was really good. It was my wife and I and about 4 other people in that fucking screening.
Oh, what?
And I realized that he didn't care about the Terminator franchise. He just wanted the money to make Avatar 2 and 3. So he was going to sit there and thank us for coming.
Yeah, for his story idea. He said, okay, redo the second one.
Oh, man. That was an experience, seeing that on the big screen, Terminator 2. That movie is
a big thing.
Oh my god, that movie was like a whole thing. You had games, you had music videos, you had like toys, it's just an amazing idea that would just happen. Somebody's just like, hey, Terminator 2's out. Let's just feed it to everybody.
Oh yeah, I played the
everybody has to see it
in the cinema for years after.
Man.
I do love these special effects, the computer generated pictures of the buildings as he flies in. And,
yes.
But how do they make them?
I've seen it on Facebook, but I can't remember. I'm half a beer through.
I had this model of New York with all the buildings, and then they just had reflective tape with a dark light. So it looks like it's grid board paint. Grid
Of course,
CG.
of course, Carpenter did. Who else could make a great sequence with just some reflective tape other than Carpenter?
I know, it's awesome. I'm tempted to try it myself if I can find a big enough dark light.
See, that's why I've always really loved Dark Star. Like Carpenter's first movie, like straight out of college. Yes, the effects are ropey. Yes, the script is ropey. Yes, the acting is ropey. But he's still young. He's still garnering his craft. So there's that whole sequence where the guy plays the piano with the half bottles of water. And it's like a 2-3 minute sequence of him just playing this musical sequence. The first time I watched it, I was like, oh man, that's absolutely crap. Why would somebody put that scene in the film?
Yeah.
And then the subsequent viewings, I just always loved that little bit coming up because it's like you're in space. You know, they're just so out of it. They're so out of touch that this music kind of, you know, brings you back. And then you get fucking John Denver and Alien Covenant.
We're not going there. We're not going there.
No, we're going to New York, and he's just found Air Force One.
Yeah,
Crap.
apparently people are upset because the plane that was in the model in the sky is a different plane to what's crashed on the floor. Because that, yeah, was it the...
Okay, well, 8-year-old me did not care. 8-year-old me looked at this.
I read the engines are in the wrong place, but apparently people have, and they're upset.
I mean, I think it was... I think I could find it out. I mean, the computer's right there, but I can't. I think it's Detroit or Philadelphia that they use the street sequences. You know, it's not really New York. So they turned up at night.
They filmed in it.
Yeah, this neighborhood is a real neighborhood. This is a rundown neighborhood that people lived and worked in. And John Carpenter turned up one night, threw all this wreckage on the floor, filmed it, and then picked it up and ran away again.
Doesn't sound like John Carpenter to me.
Man, he just looks so fucking good. It looks
100%, doesn't it? I believe this is New York.
But it's just Kurt Russell, you know, with the walkie-talkie, the eye patch. He's just selling this as this guy who's, if it wasn't for the bombs in his neck, he'd be owning this fucking city.
He would, wouldn't he?
He'd fucking run the city in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, say what we want about Escape from LA. Escape from LA.
I don't have that on VHS. For some reason, no collections I've picked up have that.
Man, it's just that bit where the guy's like, "Hey, One Eye, I'm talking to you," and he just turns and just fucking blows him away, like not even looking, like "Fuck you." Oh man.
But yeah,
this sequence, love this sequence as well. I'm gonna spoil it. I love every sequence in this movie. But
spoilers.
You know, this is the introduction to, like, I don't know, the nightlife of New York. You know, the fact that there's still some society, some, you know, wording, civilization still happening. People are still trying to have like a night entertainment because, I mean, if you can't have fun or art, like, what have you got left?
Yeah. So yeah, they got the old theatre on. I don't know if it. Did you see you don't have subtitles at the moment?
No, I don't. But I kind of know the song.
It's got some great lyrics.
Because everyone's coming to New York, New York, with a gun. And then Ernest Borgnine. Oh man.
Oh yes.
Coming to New York.
Was going to be in this.
No more Yanks. Pop quiz.
Oh, no.
Who's playing the guitar?
That I don't know. I didn't see that anywhere.
The guy playing the guitar at the front of the stage with a cigar in his mouth and the glasses is the great Carpenter himself.
Ah, there you go.
He managed to throw in a little cameo for himself right into the movie. See, I'm kind of being cheeky, and I shouldn't really do this live, but
go on.
Well, I'm starting to run out of beer, and I don't want to get up. So I'm just going to briefly text. I'm briefly going to text my wife to see if she can bring me a beer.
You can go get a beer. How far away is it?
No. She's probably she's probably watching anyway and thinking, Jesus Christ, what? So
ask the chat. What was the Italian rip-off of this? There's an Italian rip-off of this. Well, there's many, but there's one I'm trying to think of. I think it was like 1999 or something. But Rob's vintage video. He loves this flick. Who doesn't love this flick? I haven't found anyone
doesn't love this flick.
Doesn't like it.
Okay. Is that just Coke you were drinking there, or is it mixed with Coke? Oh, is it? Oh, is that wine?
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. I'm a San Miguel guy myself.
Okay.
After obviously all the hardcore drinking you do as a child of, the ciders, the vodkas, and you're out with your friends, I realized that beer is my only friend.
Cheers to you, Rob.
Cheers, boys.
Everybody loves this one too. What's the point in the sight on this gun of his? It's like what, an Uzi type gun, so it doesn't really need a sight, does it?
Well, no, but I mean, like it's to show that obviously he's kind of high tech, but it's also. Thank you, dear. Thank you.
What the hell's mine?
Thank you, my dear. You can come say hello. Everybody loves you. Everybody loves you. Oh, she's in her pajamas.
Hello. Hello.
Thank you, my dear. It's love there. That's love. That's love.
First of all, Snake's a badass because he's cut the sleeves off his.
Yeah, well, let's show his tattoos. The amazing Buck Flowers.
Oh yes, ex-porn star.
I was only watching Starman a couple of nights ago, and he was driving Jeff Bridges in his car. I'm like, man, Buck Flowers, you get everywhere and you're amazing.
Yeah.
I'm the president.
Easy now.
I knew as soon as I got this, I'd be president.
And then he kills the president.
Well, he kind of knocks him. He breaks this thing, doesn't he?
I don't know why he breaks it because it doesn't really affect the mission either way.
Well, I suppose sends a message out that look, everything you send me in is just fucking. Because Pliskin, he never wanted to do this anyway. He doesn't care about any of this, and he knows that the president is about as worth as the bum there. They can replace the president. They can do something else, and. I mean, the whole idea of this Hartford summit, the energy, and getting them there so that America can become the big top superpower again, is just like, am I crazy? But it's the same fucking shit we read like every year in the newspapers. We've got it at the moment. We might as well drop Snake Plissken into Russia and see what happens.
Oh yeah, he didn't save that woman from being attacked, so we know he doesn't care that much about anyone.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, he was
endanger his mission, which endangers him.
Which brings me back to Metal Gear Solid. There are so many females as well that turn up in the game that Hideo Kojima lulls you into that false sense of security that you're the hero and you're going to save everybody, and then something happens and you're just like, it's such great writing. You lull your audience into thinking the hero's going to get the happy ending, that everything's going to work out, but it doesn't. It doesn't.
Spoilers.
Well, it kind of does. Like at the end of this movie, the way Snake walks away, you kind of feel, it's all going to work out. But in his world, if we're being realistic, in his world, America is a crazy superpower. Europe is probably fucked. And the rest of the world is probably just hanging on. Look at this shot of him just sat in the chair. That's how I feel some days. I'm just like...
And then the manhole covers move, but yeah, they're made of wood and not metal because no one can lift them on their own if they were made of metal.
Okay, Gareth, you've been sent to New York. Okay,
and yes,
you've got to join a gang. Are you part of the Crazies? Are you part of the Dukes gang? Or are you part of those crazy assholes that live on Broadway?
I'll be a dancer.
Yeah, I'd probably be a dancer too.
I can't play an instrument or this whole thing.
Like I want to work for the Duke, but unless I'm the Duke, like
Yeah,
Isaac Hayes.
I
love this idea of the crazy people just living on the streets.
Well, find a baseball suit and paint my face as well, so just to cover all bets.
It's probably the safest place to live, because like they're not flushing it with toxic waste anymore.
There's no chuds.
There's no somebody had to bring up chuds. I waited so long to see that movie, and then I watched it, and I wish I hadn't.
Yeah, exactly.
The cafe sequence with John Goodman was not worth my fucking price of admission.
And then Chud 2, which has nothing to do with the first one at all.
Some sequels work, some sequels don't.
Yeah. Just before we started making this, Kurt Russell had his son, was it called Boston or something?
Was that Wyatt? No.
No, there's another one. I think it was called Boston. I thought it was a city name. And then his wife here at the time, this was her first acting job back to work, and then of course he met Goldie Hawn a few years later after their divorce. And
after that, just love forever.
Oh, here we go. Another victim. That was Daniel Campbell.
Campbell requested. Man, I mean, Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn became Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus. I mean, like, the Christmas Chronicles. I love my Santa Claus movies, and when Kurt Russell became Santa Claus, I was like, I'm kind of done now with life, like.
Aren't people saying it's Macready found in the snow in the Antarctic and then taken to the Arctic to become Santa?
She's got a bit of a Goldie Hawn look about herself, this lady.
She is a skinny blonde, which
she is. I've been loving the fact that when we got Disney Plus, Disney owned still all of the old Kurt Russell movies, that like Computer Board, tennis shoes, and stuff like that. And you watch them, and they are pretty bad. But Kurt Russell is just so good.
He is good in them.
He's what keeps you going all the way through. You know,
the studio didn't want him in this.
Yeah, it would ruin his good boy image.
Carpenter.
Elvis is good. I like Elvis.
But who are the studio's choices for Snake?
Who were the studio choices for Snake?
Yeah.
I'm going to say Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a guess. Clint Eastwood. Who else would be
one of the main stars at the time? Our main action guys.
Okay, I'll go with Clint Eastwood. I'll say, what's his name from The Great Escape? Steve McQueen?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think Pat died by this time, hasn't he? Yeah, there's one. The man with there's a clue.
Charles Bronson. Well, Charles Bronson could have made it work, I think.
Carpenter said he was too old, but because he wasn't running around stage at this point.
Yeah, but if they got a young Charles Bronson at this stage, who else? I'm going to say, who else was the action star then?
Harrison Ford was mentioned, but he wasn't one of the studio's choices.
I don't know. You're going to have to tell me. That's racking me.
Chuck Norris. Who else could take on New York on his own?
I mean, I don't understand this whole legend of Chuck Norris. I mean, Chuck Norris is good, but that guy still owes me $20.
For what?
This wall sequence.
Oh, I love this clip. And he just pushes the wall in because it's paper anyway.
Yeah, but 8-year-old me was like, oh my God, that wall was like 7 inches thick.
It just like flaps there after he jumps.
There's no stunt coordinating money or anything. If Kurt Russell hurt himself, they were fucked.
Can you name the three Michael Myers that were involved in this film?
Nick Castle, that's one.
Yeah, he wrote it.
Nick Castle was 2, and I can't name the others. Really, I know Nick Castle, and that's like the only Michael Myers.
Wilbur Smith and one of the other ones. The stunt people. Shows my level of fucking memory.
Well, it's the wine, mate. I'm going to go with the wine.
Yeah, you got Nick Castle. That's the main one. That's what anyone cares about.
Oh man, I love this bit. Did you ever get to play Twisted Metal on the PlayStation?
No, I never had a PlayStation. I was one of the rich kids.
See, rich kids. PlayStation was like, you hang me down. Twisted Metal was like a death race game released on the PlayStation, and there was a character in the game because you take on all these different characters to win the race, and then you get your wish granted to you by this like devil character at the end.
Right.
And there was a character called Yellow Jacket who would drive around in a yellow cab. And the kind of character image bio that they had on the game, they tried to go with a kind of Ernest Borgnine kind of look. You know, this old cabbie who's been locked in his cab for just years, and he just keeps driving. And I've always played with the idea that whenever Ernest Borgnine brings up the idea of Eddie, Eddie doesn't exist. Eddie's just in his head. Eddie is a friend that he. So Eddie was with him at the show. You know, they were at the show. Eddie was sat next to him, and he got up and he left Eddie at the show. You know, because he wasn't really there.
That's a lot of thought went into this.
Yeah, I do go on some real deep thoughts sometimes. I would explain to you my theory about the genetics of Ghostbusters Afterlife, but I'd probably get told off.
Yeah, come on, fuck off. I'll be back in a minute. I'm gonna get some.
Oh, get me a beer while you're there.
Cheers.
You meet the Duke, and then you're dead. That's it. You know. So, as you're watching, because obviously I've got control of the camera, so I can talk. So they're about to pull up, and they're going to meet Brain, played by Harry Dean Stanton, and Harry Dean Stanton has a main squeeze, played by Adrienne Barbeau. And Adrienne Barbeau wears a purple dress throughout this movie. 8-year-old me, I think, fell in love with her from then, and just like the music in this movie is just you're a special case, Snake. The image of just them walking up to this library as well. The fact that they've taken the library and this is just Harry Dean Stanton's house. Nobody else lives there but him. And he's even got a freaking, I don't know, oil drilling machine in the museum to make petroleum for the Duke. Yeah. He can relax with 17 hours left to live. Yeah. It's Cabby. Cabby. You can't hear this, but I'm just going to do the commentary for you because why else do you need it for? Hey, man, did you get my beer?
Oh, shit. I'm going to into the shops.
He came back just in time for Adrienne Barbeau, dude.
Yay, because who was she married to at the time? John Carpenter, wasn't it?
She was married to John Carpenter at the time. And I can only think of 2 reasons why John Carpenter would have married her.
Voice and
acting ability, of course, because she's just such a fabulous actress. I missed the opportunity to see The Fog on the big screen a few years ago because our local cinema it was Halloween 2016 that they were releasing. And so Halloween, the original, was being shown on the big screen along with Escape from New York, They Live, Prince of Darkness, and The Fog. And I wanted to fucking see them all. But the problem was The Fog was on so late, I had to get up for work early the next morning. And I just knew if I stayed up and watched The Fog, I'd wake up the next day and I'd be no good to anybody. And so I opted not to go see The Fog. My friend Gary went to see it, and he'd always kind of never liked The Fog. He'd always said that he'd had some issues with it. It just didn't run, for some reason. And then he saw it on the big screen, and it just immediately just went to like his top list of great movies. And I'm just like, well, of course, because it's just, it's Carpenter again, just taking the simple idea of ghosts and a fog and putting it around this whole town and then filming it guerrilla style.
Yeah.
I mean, Adrienne Barbeau, yes, okay, she's not an Oscar-winning actress. She hasn't had prominent parts. But the parts she has, she owns. She makes her own.
She only interacted with her son in one scene, and the rest is on her own. So that was a big thing for her to do on her own.
Should remember. You remember what they did to Fresno Bob?
Isn't he in the sequel as him?
We were buddies, Harold.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna be praising the Fog remake over the original, but
Which remake?
the Fog.
We don't fucking talk about that fucking Tom Welling fucking disdain of a movie that they decided to make. There are some shit movies in the world. The Fog remake is one of them. I had the unlucky opportunity to catch some of it one night on TV, and I thought, you know what? I give films a chance. I've got to watch everything. And so I was watching it. I was so angry. So angry. I think simply I was angry that this film had the Fog title attached to it. You know, like John Carpenter's The Fog to me is like fucking amazing. And here's this Tom Welling fucking resurrection live CGI. I'm still a bit confused. Like his girlfriend was like the reincarnated daughter or wife of the pirate cat.
Same, and she just became a ghost and went off with the ghost in the end to save the city.
So we don't talk about that movie.
We'll talk about your lovely picture in the background.
That's actually not Vigo the Carpathian. That's actually my uncle. Phil. He owned some land back in Europe. Obviously, he liked posing. This is the one photo where he doesn't have his Carpathian kitty by him. I'm quite unfortunate. Yeah. A few years ago, I said to the wife, we had some photos in the front room, and I just wanted to change them. They were boring me. The front room, our whole front room needs redecorating. We need like 60 million to redecorate the whole house. And I said I wanted to get a photo, and we were reviewing Ghostbusters 2 at the time. And I just saw the Vigo picture, and I was just like, man, I love that picture. It is
good.
It's so good. And I said to my wife, I'd love it in the front room above my chair, because I have a comfy chair, and she has her comfy seat. And she saw the photo. She was like, no, you can't have that in the front room. I'm like, why not? And she's like, because where I sit, I'd have to look at it. And Vigo would be looking at me.
Yeah, he'll follow you.
Well, that's it. His eyes follow, and I was just like, okay. So when it turned up, where he is now, I originally had a Heath Ledger Joker photo poster from The Dark Knight. Absolutely fucking loved The Dark Knight, Heath Ledger's performance, and so I then took the poster down, got a frame for it, put the poster in the frame, and then stuck that above my chair. So now in the front room, she has to stare at the Joker instead, which is kind of nicer than Vigo the Carpathian. So
yeah.
I kind of hook all my things around films. I mean, we were talking about this earlier. Obviously, I have the Escape from New York graphic novel. Sorry, not comic, graphic novel. There's like 4 of these. I've only bought number 1 at the moment. I would like to own the others, but this one specifically ends from the end of the movie. So you have a couple of shots, I don't know if you can see there, where it's the end of Escape from New York. And then he goes into Florida, and he has to escape from Florida. And then once he's escaped from Florida, he gets captured at the end, and he gets thrown into Siberia. So I imagine in the second movie, he has to escape from Siberia, and then he'll go somewhere else. I have to throw out my love to my co-host, Gary Nichols, for getting me a few years ago the Thing comics for my Christmas. And I've never opened them. They all came sealed, cardboard backed, with the plastic, and I was just like, no. I've lost you. Your camera seems to have gone.
Have you?
Excuse me for a second. I can hear somebody knocking at the door, and they've been knocking for a while, and I should have realized that. Sorry, I'll be back.
Okay. Is my camera here? Yeah, I was thinking the same. Snake would not make it out of Florida. Ian has great opinions. Yeah, the grease fog was. Is it the beer delivery again?
Children.
Oh.
I'm just going to say that was my son just knocking at the door. While I was talking, I could hear knocking. I'm like, why is he knocking? what's he knocking for? I'm just going to ignore it. He's just knocking. And then I open the door and he's like, Dad, do you want another beer? I was like,
well trained.
So I'm going to say, I love my son. He can make awkward moments, but I love him. So, he was the inspiration for allowing me to buy this Predator 2 figure, which was in Smith's. He saw it and he was just like, Dad, I want that figure. And I was like, okay. So I bought it. I mean, I think you have a son as well, don't you?
Yeah.
Once you buy them toys, you're like, no, I'm going to take that because you're going to lose the bits.
You may have bought it with your pocket money, but I'll look after
yes, I'll look at it. We've been buying him Lego sets like throughout his life. He's always loved creating Lego stuff.
Okay.
And I'll admit, I've almost craggled a lot of his sets. He had a Lego police dropship from the Lego movie. You know, the Lego movie was massive. We took him. He watched it. He loved it. He loved the dropship. The dropship was like 60 to 70 pounds when it came out. And we built it. It took like 3 hours to build this thing. And then he dropped it down the stairs and it broke in half. So it took another 2 hours to repiece it back together.
Did you have all the pieces?
We did. All the pieces were at the bottom of the stairs. I was like, don't move. Now the dropship now is in at least 7 different boxes in his bedroom of pieces. Because he's wonderful. He buys these things, he plays them, and then he takes them apart and he uses his imagination and he plays them and stuff like that. But I've taken his Playmobil Ecto ones off of him because recently he wanted the Ecto ones. So we bought him not only the original but the Ghostbusters 2 version as well. And he turned to me about 2 weeks ago and he's just like, yeah, Dad, I'm not playing with these anymore. We should give them away. I was like, give them away?
Still have the box.
I will put them in storage. Thank you very much, son.
Some needy charity's not having this.
But it's like we said, I mean, film franchises come out, they make these toys, we buy them for our children. Secretly, we want them for ourselves. I mean, I remember when Terminator 2 came out and it had that skin containment unit.
For that.
Oh man, it was the advert. I still remember the advert of the guy, like, you cover it in skin and then you cut it off and you make a battle damaged Terminator. It's like, okay. Like, I want it. Like, I still look for it now. You see it on eBay, it's like, it's £300. I'm like,
oh, I wonder how much it is on eBay. And I tried for a cheap one once, but I missed out on it somehow. Because I'm guessing the person didn't know what it was.
I have. The box is away at the moment, but I was walking my son to school one morning and we passed this charity shop. And I'm not rich, so charity shops are like a gold mine to me. You can get some good shit in a charity shop.
That is true.
And we walked past, and I saw in the window, I saw this xenomorph, this alien picture, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? It's in this box, this cardboard box, this alien head. I'm like, what the fuck is that? So once I dropped them off, I walked back to the charity shop, walked in, hey, morning, how you doing? Looking around, and I see this thing. And it was an Aliens play set. It was an Aliens play set for 9-year-olds, the atmosphere processor. So this moment in Aliens where the Marines go in and they fight the aliens and they get wiped out and they run out to the APC, somebody's made a play set of it. And here it is in the charity shop. So I'm like, I'm playing it cool. I've never seen this thing before and I'm about to explode. And I'm playing it cool, like, yeah, can I have a look to see what the pieces are? She's like, yeah, okay. So I open up the box in the shop, and I realized they've all been bagged up, and there's all these Marines and aliens and stuff. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, okay, oh yeah, all the pieces are in there, yeah. How much? She's like, I don't know, maybe £5. I'm like, yeah, okay, here's a bag, here's £5, bitch. Here's the money, like throwing her money. Take the place out, take it home. I put it all up. I'm like, oh my, what the fuck? Like, this is the atmosphere processor from Aliens. I've got marine figures. I've got alien figures. I've got eggs. I've got ladders. This is for 9-year-olds. What parent lets their 9-year-old watch Aliens? Like, okay, me, but like, I then realized
Oh.
that it was missing the Hicks figure, and
Oh, no.
it was missing the Vasquez figure.
Oh.
So I'm missing the shotgun toting Hicks and the Vasquez smart gun toting figure. I'm like, shit. So I look online and I find these box sets, and yeah, they're kind of rare, but the company still does them. But the company sells them blind.
What?
So when you buy one of these boxes, you get like 2, maybe 3 aliens and 2, maybe 3 Marines, and it could be any of them.
Bastards.
I was like, okay, I'll have a box. Extra Marines is fine. The box turned up. I just got a couple. I think I got a Pharaoh and a Dietrich, but I've already got a Pharaoh who's toted a pistol, and a couple of extra aliens, and I put them in this playset, and I'm like, £5, man, £5. I walked past the charity shop once. I saw one of those limited edition 1970s, 1980s Millennium Falcons.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh man, how much is that? I walked in there and the guy's like, yeah, it's 150 quid. I was like, thank you. Walked right back out.
Yeah, some of them know, don't they?
Some of them know. Man, Isaac Hayes.
Yeah.
How? Like, he's the Duke. He's the chef.
He's the chef.
Like, what a life Isaac Hayes had.
What was his acting before this? Because I only remember as a singer.
Probably some small blaxploitation
That's
parts.
the only thing I could think of. I was gonna,
You know.
do now.
But it's like I was talking to Campbell, and he was saying, you know, you got to love his twitch. You know, he
Yeah,
adds
whenever
twitch
it's
to his eye.
Russell. Oh, Snake.
Heard
Yeah,
we did. Oh man, captured. She captured in front of him.
I bet you got chandeliers on your car, haven't you?
Where the hell would you get chandeliers nowadays? Like I don't know any French emporiums.
Charity shops.
Yeah, charity shops don't do them.
Oh yeah, he did barely anything.
Oh man.
There you go. Yeah, he was in the blaxploitation film, but actually Truck Turner.
See, I love this whole moment as well because it's a nice little time transition.
Yeah,
You know, he's been knocked out, he's been captured. We've got a couple of hours. We just got to drop. We got to speed the time up. We've only got an hour and a half of the movie.
yeah, because he had 24 hours, didn't he? So now you
Yeah, and like just the way the helicopters will fly over the city, you know, calling out, look, the streets are clear. We've got nobody on thermal imagery because they're all looking for this fight. If you've not heard of Snake Plissken by the time he's entered the prison, like I love this shot.
Yeah. That's the Twin Towers, unfortunately, but so it doesn't age very well. But
Well,
just
I-
universe.
but that's it. I kind of really love it. I mean, I know obviously Twin Towers, instant and all that kind of stuff, but it's also, you know, it's just history. If you're watching this film, like if you're 15, 16 now, and you're like, I want to watch a film. Watch Escape from fucking New York. Okay. You will be asking so many questions by the end of the film. And that I sometimes think is some of the best thing about film. When people say I'll watch a film and I turn my brain off, I'm like, why did you even turn the film on?
Yeah.
You've just gone to sleep. You should by the end of the film be questioning everything that you were thinking before you entered the movie. That's how I think that's how I felt when I was a kid. That when I entered this film, and by the time it ended, I had to know about the world. What was New York like? What was the rest of the world like? You know, fucking who the hell's this guy with this gun shooting at this guy with a handcuff on? Like,
Yeah.
Mr.
Well, when he's shooting it, there's gunshots, but the gun itself has a silencer on it. So.
Hey man, can't be all perfect.
Oh yeah, that's because Al's asking about the snake, but there won't be a film, but there is a comic book.
There is a graphic novel, yeah. Snake and Jack Burton meet up, yeah. If it's anything like Time Cop, if they like enter into the same space, they just melt and become. Yeah. I love Time Cop. I think Time Cop's one of the greatest movies.
Something we can agree on again.
Like Jean-Claude Van Damme, he does a lot of movies. I love Kickboxer. I love is it Sudden Death, where he fights the guys at the hockey game? But Time Cop.
Yeah, I watched it again last week or the week before because it's just
so good. It's when he does the splits in his kitchen and he electrocutes the guy.
You're A number one.
A number one. I will once again shout out my son. His middle name is Duke.
After the bad guy.
Well, I originally, when my wife was pregnant with my son, when we were thinking about names, I wanted to call him Snake. And she was like, "You can't call your son Snake." I was like, "Why the fuck not?"
How cool would he be in the schoolyard? Call me Snake.
She's like, when he goes to school and they call out his name, he's just going to get ridiculed. And I understood that. I was just like, okay, yeah, I don't want my son going to be bullied and stuff like that. So she chose Dylan, which was from Bob Dylan.
Not Predator.
Well, no, it's close. Dylan. And then I was like, I want his middle name to be Duke. I wanted it originally, at first it was originally just from Duke Nukem because I'm a huge Duke Nukem fan. And then it was just somebody else said to me, look, it's the Duke, John Wayne. That's how good that is. And then obviously Escape from New York, Duke A number one in New York. And I'm like, Duke is such an amazing name. I wish I'd been called Duke.
The Duke of Devonshire.
So this is that's all a matte painting in the background.
It's awesome, isn't it?
I love it. I always believed it was Central Park.
That's Central Park. That's New York. They just it looks so real that it's better than the CGI. I mean, it's the truth as well.
A couple of flicking lights on a dashboard behind you, a matte painting. You got a movie.
Yeah, well, because the model they used for the nighttime New York, the long shots, that they reused some angles of that for Blade Runner.
Oh yeah, that's a good movie. That's a good movie. That's got its 40th anniversary this year as well. No. And publicly, I will shout it from the rooftops. I do really like Blade Runner 2049.
I do too. I was glad you said that.
It managed to cement all of the arguments that I'd been having with not only people but my co-host as well for at least 20 odd years. He's a replicant. No, he's not. He's a fucking human.
Well, it was 50-50 before that, but
well, Harrison Ford had always said he played Deckard as a human. And
how do you play it as a human though?
And Ridley Scott wanted him to be like Ryan Gosling is in 2049, completely emotionless. And Harrison Ford wasn't going to do it like that. He wanted to kind of show emotion. So I get the idea that the replicant idea is there and that he's a robot. But I find it a more meaningful story if he's a human because he questions everything he's doing. He's shooting what he's being told of replicants, but we don't know that. They're bleeding, they're sweating, they look human. Is he just a murderer? And you get the same thing. I get the same thing when I see Ryan Gosling's performance. He's doing it. He knows they're replicants, but he's killing them. And he's like, is this just murder? And then you have the whole twist, like is he human or not? And I just think they're both really good companion pieces. I know Ridley Scott has his ideas. I've seen Alien Covenant. I know how he acts. But franchises work better when your fans are able to have their say as well. Yeah, and John Carpenter gets that. John Carpenter is always like, look, here's my story. And the fans go, oh, but what if this and what if that? And then John Carpenter's like, oh yeah, that's good. I might do that. I might make that. film companies don't do that. They go, no, we got to sell it to the masses. We just got to have it this way. This is our way, and if it fails, it fails. You know.
Yeah.
Boo! Boo! Everybody hates Snake. Boo!
He won't win them over.
He won't win a fight. No, he's going to die in the next few seconds.
Because this guy was a real wrestler and he was a real tough son of a bitch.
Now, at the same time, I'm going to bring it up now because I was thinking about this today and I knew it was going to get to this point.
Oh, no.
We might hate Escape from New York, but Kurt motherfucking Russell made that basketball shot.
Fake.
Fucking made it. Say fake or not, Kurt Russell did the work, same as he did the work in this as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Kurt Russell's so great. Marvel called him Ego because he's that good. Like Marvel were like, we need to make a movie. Kurt Russell's going to be in it. What's the story? We don't know yet, but Kurt Russell is going to be in it. Okay. Yeah, this guy's a real wrestler. He's actually, I've seen some old videos of him, and he's really a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's really nice guy. But in this movie, he almost hurt Kurt Russell. Like, because there's no safety, there's no stunt. It's like, hey guys, look, flaming torches, don't go near them. Yeah, these are real nails in the back. Don't hurt each other, okay?
Yeah. Because when he does hit him in the back of the head with the pointy stick, the guy's just got a piece of wood on the back of his head to catch it, hasn't he? So you go. If it goes wrong.
Big speech. Yeah, best man.
I don't know. Yeah, just shoot him. Not this James Bond shit.
But that's the core of a good villain. The good villain doesn't just shoot the hero.
You know, you have a snake tattoo on your belly.
I'd love to get one, but I do. Sorry to bring it up again. I do have my Metal Gear Solid snake foxhound tattoo.
If I had the time, I would have doodled a felt tip pen on it.
I was always interested in tattoos, and then I have a on the back of my neck as well. I won't be able to show it to you, but it's a Bruce Campbell tattoo. A friend of mine went and got his first tattoo, and he's just like, "Look, you've got to get a tattoo. You'll love it." And I was just like, "No, tattoos are really personal. When you get it, it means something. It's just not a design." And I saw this Bruce Campbell design in a video game, Evil Dead: Hail to the King, and I was like, I really want that, so I got it done. And then just before my son was born, I was just like, I need a tattoo to celebrate his birthday, and I needed something to go with it. And I always loved Metal Gear Solid. I always loved Escape from New York. If I could, I'd have the snake tattoo on my chest like Vega from fucking Street Fighter 2. But I just don't have the chest for it. So I went with the arm tattoo instead. And I'd love to get more, but then again, it's just having the time, the money, the ideas. Like I have a friend of mine that I work with as well. He just walks around. He's got tattoos all over his body, and along his ankles, he's just got video games. He's got like an 8-bit Mario. He's got like the Assassin's Creed fucking tattoo. And I'm like, man, I wish I had all that money.
I've only got these guns to show off.
Oh, you need a tattoo on those guns, man. You got to show them all. Oh, man, he killed Michael Biehn.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, it was a Pleasant's idea to wear a blonde wig for some reason in this scene. But he is Donald Pleasant, so we let him do
Donald
what he
wants. Like, that's fucking Blofeld, man. I mean, we talk about James Bond, it's fucking Blofeld. Where is he? Sorry. I get my on set with John Carpenter. I have two of these books. My wife got me one, and then my good friend Gary got me one for Christmas. So I've kept this one in plastic because hopefully one day I can get it signed by John Carpenter. One day.
Hurry that up.
Well, I think John Carpenter's going to live forever. Actually, I think he's going to outlive all of us. I secretly, I know what his fortune is, but I mean, look at that face. Just look at that. Like, this is an amazing book. The only thing that annoys me about this book is that there's no The Thing pictures. It's just.
Oh, what?
It's every other film apart from The Thing. It's like, oh man.
Yeah, that's a bit shit. So no wonder that actually.
Hey. Anything with John Carpenter is just, like I said, 6 out of 10 at least. 6 out of 10 at least.
So like Memoirs of Invisible Man and the remake of Children of the Village of the Damned.
We were discussing this on our Discord recently for Off the Shelf Reviews. Like somebody was saying, look, Memoirs of an Invisible Man is a shit film. I'm like, no. Memoirs of an Invisible Man is a good film because A, it's done by John Carpenter. Great shot to the head. But Chevy Chase is rumored to be absolutely difficult to work with.
I have heard that.
now I'm not entirely sure if that's true or not. I do kind of like Chevy Chase, but the more I hear he's an asshole, I'm like, you know what? Yeah. You're going to be Kevin Spacey at one point. But the fact that John Carpenter was able to make and complete a film with such a difficult guy under such difficult pressure as well, because none of the studios wanted to give Carpenter any money. He's working it all himself. Every time I see a Carpenter movie, even recently, not recently, like 2017, he made The Ward. John Carpenter did. John Carpenter's The Ward. It's nothing great. The story's kind of simple, but it's good. And I may be being biased, but the camera work good. The acting is good. It's like Carpenter gives his actors the time to either be the characters or bring something to the characters. There was no history to Snake Plissken up at this point. There's no stories, no comics, no games, no nothing. Everything we get from Snake Plissken is Kurt Russell. You know, everything we get from McCready is Kurt Russell. Everything we get from John Natter in They Live is Roddy Piper. John Carpenter just basically goes, look, I'm trying to make a movie. Here's the script. Can you just act a few scenes? Some directors, they'll make, 100 odd takes? They'll take 100 odd takes to make the scene perfect. Carpenter's got like 10 minutes. Let's just get it fucking done. Same with like John Carpenter's Vampires. It's not the best vampire movie out there. But James Woods, man, fucking gets me every time.
As soon as he's on screen.
I mean, they're shot there. Those 3 guys there. You got the guy that got killed in the fog, Tom Atkins, and Lee Van Cleef, and they're selling me that there's some shit going down. All right, guys. Okay, we're fucking in. 59 minutes. That's it. That's all we got left, people.
Oh, well, yeah, there's a thing there because he's in the ring. He reaches over, grabs the guy's hand, puts the button.
Yeah, hits the button that only he knew about. Nobody else knew about the secret button.
Take the trace watch off the guy's hand, but then they're tracking him to the.
No. He's hit the signal, so that's alerted them that something's gone down. They just know. They don't know. His idea is to get back to the World Trade Center, but they just dropped the gliders as well. So now he's got to come up with a whole new escape plan to get out. You know, luckily he's got brain. Luckily they've got the car.
Well, yeah, we had an hour left, didn't we, when they were at top of the tower?
Yeah.
And now at the bottom of the tower. And within that time of them going up to the tower and back, someone has taken the engine out of the car.
And hidden a guy in it with a crossbow. Swear to God, I'm Harry Dean Stanton, believe me.
I
believe you have
bloody tape.
Pardon?
What's on this bloody tape they're all after?
Oh, it's just some formula for making like some kind of good energy that will make the whole world make ships and get them off the planet. That's the whole aim.
The rich people.
Well, maybe see, I do get the idea from this that Donald Pleasance is kind of a good president and he has an idea to save his country. But by the end of the movie,
yeah,
he shows his true signs of, look, you will sacrifice yourselves to save me. That's your job. And Snake's like, wrong answer, motherfucker. Wrong answer.
Yeah.
Hi, Duke. I wasn't really with him. I was just helping him. Dude.
Yeah, it's so cool. But yeah, apparently everyone that says "I thought you were dead" to Snake ends up dead themselves in the film. But
yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
It's most people, but apparently, according John Pleasant had a whole backstory to his president character that's never revealed anywhere, but he made one up anyway. And I think one of them was he's the love child of Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher. And
good old Donald Pleasance.
And then he came to power in England and took over America as a colony.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
British person in charge of America, which couldn't happen because he wasn't born there. So, yeah.
Man, I fucking love Donald Pleasance. Like, I know what the ending of Halloween 4 is. Well, Halloween 4 is pretty fucking bad. But the ending where he's screaming at the little girl, and she's obviously, become the new Michael, which they did not bother taking up in number 5.
Handbrake turn, yeah.
Oh, he's great. He's great in it. He sells it.
Yeah. I re-edited the ending to that where it shows Jamie on the stairs. He's going, no, but then it fades to black and they go bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, I kind of like the bit in Halloween Kills where he turns up and he confronts Michael outside the house, the digital, flashback. That was kind of nice. It's just, I'd always felt Michael is a human killer. He's not supernatural. He doesn't have magic powers. And so the whole idea in Halloween Kills where he, the more he kills, the more he transcends. It's like, what? Even Leatherface is fucking more human by Michael at this point. That guy eats people.
Yeah. Apparently, John Carpenter bought this bridge for $1 and then sold it back to the council or city for $1.
Yes.
It's not actually in New York. Spoilers.
Spoilers.
It's the shop with the Cadillac and the chandeliers.
So good. I said I watch this film like at least once a year, like on and off. I'm just like, I need to watch Escape from New York. And it's kind of like I said, it's always this bridge sequence. I think it's from the childhood memory of seeing the reviewer, him talking about the bridges, how they connect to the outside world, and so this whole end sequence is just a race. Snake is trying to escape at this point, and the taxi blowing up, like
poor Gabby.
It's cliched now because we've seen it do so many times, but the fact that Snake is the hero. And you literally just have to start killing off all the people who are helping him because only he's the main character.
Apparently, yeah. The Adrian Barbeau being dead on the floor, bleeding, was shot in Carpenter's garage because they had a shot of her being rammed by the car, but it doesn't show her dead. So they apparently a young J.J. Abrams saw a cut of it and said, "Well, we don't see what happened to her, so."
We need a shot of her. Well, I kind of, when you see her rammed by the car, I'm like, that bitch is dead.
Yeah, she's in 2-3 pieces.
Yeah, she ain't getting back up again.
Poor Kevin's got a bloody face.
There goes Harry. Bye, Harry.
And then, she just thinks taking out the trash.
Like I've seen this earlier because I was making sure my film was working for this. And this, like I said, she's not an Oscar winner, but she sells this. Like she really cared full brain, and he's dead now. So what's the point?
Isn't it funny though the way he dies? He stands on a mine, but it just flings him in the air. Doesn't spread him over the area.
Well, it's the fact he watches them run because he's telling them like left, and he watches them run forward. I would have stopped and gone, all right, I'm going to go your way. It's a lot safer. You know,
Had the map upside down.
Yeah. Give me the gun, Snake. I'm going to try and kill him.
Yeah.
That man
Grow my hair out.
That man looks so fucking awesome. He's so, yeah. Every man needs to grow his hair out once in his life. Just you never know when you'll just lose it again. You know. But, hey, losing your hair is fine. I mean, Charles Dance in Alien 3 makes that fucking bald head work. Like Bruce Willis, Die Hard with Vengeance, makes that shit work.
Yeah.
I've got two choices when I get older. Either this shit goes silver and I keep it silver,
Big
or
Gareth.
it goes and I just shave the motherfucker off. But the wife's a big fan of the hair, so I've got to keep it for the moment. Oh man.
Oh, come on, what a waste.
Yeah, what like damn man.
The
You know, you'd never tell it was Carpenter's Garage. You wouldn't tell. It's the editing is so
no, I know it's cut seamlessly. Doesn't
yeah.
It? You
And
think
he
that's the
knows.
fault of the car.
He knows how to make his cuts. You know, just give you enough.
Well, like the fog where he added all the gory bits.
I might be crazy, but I swear this control room looks exactly like the room from Halloween 3 where they've got the fucking druid block and they're sticking in the masks. Oh, man. Well, I'm getting quite sad. This movie's almost over. I want to watch it again.
Hang on, the music's kicking in.
Yeah. Like I said, I remember 8-year-old me sitting here watching him get there, just wanting him to get out, just wanting Snake to escape. Like I didn't know anything. I didn't know who directed it. I'm a fucking child. I'm just watching that film. But at this point, I'm like, get out. Come on, get out. He's got bombs in his neck. The guy's chasing him with a gun. Like, you know, it's just like the whole thing.
Donald Pleasance is dawdling along.
Donald Pleasance has such a great moment at the end. Like, if I could be Donald Pleasance with an M60, yeah, I've succeeded in life.
Well, apparently, he drew on his experience where he was a prisoner of war in Japan.
Oh, wow.
The Duke was one of the captors and just letting rip on what he would do to them. So that's why.
Straight, you can see it in his face.
You can, can't you? Hey, number one!
Hey, number one! Such great ending.
So what is it? Halloween, this, and what was it? Prince of Darkness, isn't it?
Amazing Prince of Darkness. I love Prince of Darkness.
Films, isn't it? So how come Donald Pleasance is in your equation for John Carpenter films with 3 points?
Oh man, I mean, like look at that. That's like, I may be biased, but Donald Pleasance at least adds 5 to any fucking film he's in. Like, this is a classically trained actor who was on stage. He honed his craft in front of an audience. He didn't have to wait for reviews online. He literally went out there, did it. If it didn't work, he changed it. If it worked, he's like, I'm doing that again. And just fucking, if Donald Pleasance is in a film, it's got to be at least +5. So Halloween 4 is at least a 5 out of 10.
There you go. It's up in the foot because he's in Halloween 5, 4 and 5 and 6.
There's a picture of him in Halloween H2O, so that's kind of a 2.5, a 3, maybe.
Yeah, I guess he's credited in the things. I'm trying to think because he has done some shit.
Yeah, man. But who hasn't in their time? You know, you do what has to pay the bills.
That's it.
I always loved Donald Pleasance in Fantastic Voyage.
Yeah. Apparently, he's done 200. Well, he's credited with 241, so there's at least 200 he's done.
Nice.
Episode of Lovejoy. I gotta find that one.
I just like this whole ending. You know, you got to try to remember as well. The president has lost a finger.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have a finger, so he's got. You can see it in his hand there. It's just such good continuity. You know, Carpenter keeps up with his continuity.
That's good, yeah.
And I reckon at some point, if Snake knew he could, if he respected the president, he'd have handed him the tape.
Yeah.
Because he'd have been like, yeah, you're trying to make a difference.
But yeah,
Love
he's
lives.
jumps in his egg quick enough. Harrison Ford at least stayed on the plane to fight everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, because originally it wasn't an egg. It was a jetpack. So they're going to have Donald Pleasance jetpacking off the Air Force One.
Did you ever play Perfect Dark on the N64?
A little bit, yeah.
Perfect Dark had this amazing sequence where you had to rescue the president from Air Force One, and you have to get him to the escape pod to escape. And whenever I play that level, it always makes me think of Escape from New York, simply because of the escape pod.
Yeah.
It's like it's his sweeping shots. It's Carpenter's sweeping shots. This whole shot here, Lee Van Cleef, fucking Kurt Russell, names Plissken.
No, there's something wrong here. We've got Tom Atkins, and he's not drunk a beer. He's not been with a young lady.
No. Oh, and he's not died either. He's not died.
And he's not
died. He's not died.
Not a proper film, then.
The name's Plissken.
Yeah.
Such fucking good ending.
Oh yeah.
Look how good Donald Pleasance just cleans up. Like he's been in a prison for 22 hours, but boom, he's ready to go. He's fucking ready to go.
Just new suit and a shave.
That's why you can't fuck with Donald Pleasance, man. If I ever went to prison, Donald Pleasance would be my lawyer. I'd get off like that.
Yeah.
This look on his face is amazing.
Yeah, he sells that as well.
He's like, oh shit.
Oh, I'm behind. Let's rock. He's got a ghetto blaster, so that's cool.
And he's just ripping it up. He doesn't care. He doesn't care what's on the tape. He doesn't care what it will do.
Yeah.
If
that's their only copy, then they're in trouble anyway.
Yeah, boy.
No,
yeah, boy. I actually have the soundtrack, John Carpenter's movie anthology on CD. I had to buy it because obviously fan. And I insisted our car had a CD player.
Just for that.
Well, mainly just for that. What was amazing was it's like you put CDs into your car and it will just play them. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
And then I put my John Carpenter soundtrack in there, and our little dashboard it lights up. It'll tell you like how much food you got left and like how many mileage you've done and shit like that. And it comes up and it says John Carpenter's anthology, and then it'll tell you the song that's playing. So with Escape from New York, the Escape from New York theme is on there, the Halloween theme is on there, the Thing theme is on there, and it pops up on my dashboard. And I'm driving, I'm like, this is the greatest moment of my life. Like, I learned to drive just to learn to listen to John Carpenter's soundtrack. You know, I'm driving along, Halloween's playing, I feel like Michael Myers.
I think you're missing the point of that film.
Hey, no, I totally get it. Michael Myers, Michael Myers bad. Michael Myers bad.
Okay. George Wilbur, that's the other one I was thinking of.
Oh man, that was amazing.
For the 100th time.
for the millionth time, you know, I couldn't recommend that movie enough. Like, I'll die on the fucking hill if some, I've had actually people come up to me and say they don't like Escape from New York. They don't like John Carpenter movies,
Talk to them.
and I have to pick myself up. That not only have I not hit them in the face, but I've also just realized that, you know what, you don't get it. You don't get Carpenter's idea behind Escape from New York, the message he was trying to give about not only America, but governments themselves, you know, the people they use and all that kind of stuff. And we see it more nowadays in the news and things like that. And I can watch Escape from New York at any time and just be like, man, this movie, I know it's out of date, but it's timeless as well. Yeah. How is that even possible?
I don't know.
You know, that somebody will be like, oh man, what CGI have they got in this movie? None. No fucking CGI. It's practical effects. It's matte paintings. It's
some poor bastard spent months drawing that background.
Yeah. You know, James Cameron worked on this film. Dean Cundey worked on this film. Yeah. Like you said, fucking young J.J. Abrams was working with Carpenter. It's like, I can't, like, like, do I sound crazy? Like when I'm blowing wind up Carpenter's ass.
Burnt out sets and everything, wasn't it? Oh, there it is, Jim Cameron down as.
He'd go from this to do fucking Piranha 2, wouldn't he?
For 2 weeks, allegedly. Jim Cameron again, and the Matt artwork.
Original music by John Carpenter and Alan Howarth. Yes. Like, if you got both those names on there on a film, at least a 7 out of 10.
This is the first time they worked together, and then they gelled and did a special synthesizer sound by Alan Howarth.
Synthesizers, yeah, baby. Oh man.
But the band Stand Boogie was not written by them. I don't think. But everyone's going to New York. Music and lyrics by Nick Castle.
Yeah, a cop with a gun, and you'll think that it's always going to be fun. Ah, yes, man.
Special thanks to New York, St. Louis, Missouri. I think there's another message here somewhere. Where is it? The Orient Express. I'm guessing that's not the train.
That was just, like I said, I crossed between the DVD and the VHS as I'm looking just to make sure it was all the same. And I was watching the VHS, like, man, I could easily, like, people are like, you're crazy. I'm like, no, this is how we did it back in the day. Okay. You gotta rewind it. You gotta rewind that motherfucker now. Make sure it's tight.
I have to wait a few minutes before I can watch it again.
My friend, that was fun.
Thank you.
That's okay.
The chat's enjoyed themselves. They're saying you're great. Apparently.
Well, I try, but it's the people I work with. I try to just, you know, make it enjoyable for everybody. I like.
Thanks, Jeff.
I've always understood, like, not everybody will have the same taste as everybody else, but John Carpenter, like, if you don't like John Carpenter, get the fuck out. Hey, I like it.
This is a good one.
Hey, man.
My eyes.
You want to talk about your eyes?
I think I saw it in the cinema, or I avoided seeing it in the cinema because I read the reviews. One of them, I remember I was in London, living in London at the time, and the posters where I read the big thing where there's fire and he's sitting on his bike being cool.
Yeah. I was just sold. You know, when somebody said, look, they're making Escape from LA, I'm like, I have to see this. And people had PCs. I didn't have the internet like that, but they were able to get the rumors and then be like, look, oh, it's going to be shit. It's terrible. It's nothing like the original. I was like, I don't fucking care. I have to see this fucking movie, okay? And I watched it and I was like, you know what? Yeah, all right. It's nowhere as close to the original. It doesn't deliver the same message. There's CGI, you know, but it's Carpenter. He made me enjoy an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And that's what a film needs. It doesn't need a deep, meaningful message all the time. And certainly it doesn't need you to turn your brain off, because the moment you do that, you're missing something. You know, I am, oh my God. I just remember, I am so excited to watch The Thing when it comes out on October 29th. When I see it on the big screen, I'm like, fuck y'all. What are you seeing on the big screen? Yeah, it's not The Thing. I don't need to see it. What's that? Oh, it won 3 Oscars. Is it The Thing? No. Fuck off. Get out
there. Yeah. Although Carpenter said this is actually a comedy. He sees it as a comedy.
Yes, but he also saw Big Trouble in Little China as his contribution to the Chinese martial arts kung fu movies.
He did.
Which the film companies didn't see, and they were like, look, we don't get Dennis done. We do not get Dennis done. And so he's like, all right, Kirk, can you star in this movie? We need to sell this movie. I've got to tell you this story, Gareth.
Ooh.
I love telling this story. And if my friend's watching this, he's going to absolutely hate this.
Okay. It's recorded.
Yes. I must have been around about my 20s, and a friend of mine went out for a few drinks one night, and we were talking about Big Trouble in Little China, and he was absolutely convinced that the main guy in Big Trouble in Little China was Jet Li, and I was like, motherfucker, it ain't Jet Li. I don't know who it is, because we didn't have phones that did all the internet, and you could just check Google. Yeah. You know, it rang. Your phone rang, people, and you put it down. That's all it did. And I'm like, it's not Jet Li. Yes, it is Jet Li. It is Jet Li. We argued for like 3 hours. Because I love John Carpenter so much. I'm like, I'm telling you, that motherfucker in the movie is not Jet Li. I don't know his name. And me and my friend, we went out. We had a bunch of beers. We got drunk. We got back to his house. And I knew a friend who had the internet and could access it and find out this information. So I rang him at like 2 o'clock in the morning, woke him up. I'm like, dude, I need you to fucking find out who the Chinese guy in fucking Big Trouble in Little China is. Because my friend says it's Dennis Dunn. My friend says it's Jet Li, and I swear it's not. And he's like, what? What are you talking about? I'm like, dude, seriously, I fucking need it. I'm drunk. I don't give a shit. So I hang up. And then he calls me back 10 minutes later. It's like, okay, I've looked. It's not Jet Li. It's Dennis Dunn. I'm like, sweet. It's Dennis Dunn, motherfucker.
Did you not have Halliwell's film guide for that year?
I told you, our phones picked up and went down. Like, if we didn't have it in form to be able to call on, we didn't know how to do. I love telling that story. It's great.
Although they did want Jet Li for the part, so.
But Dennis Dunn buys it. I mean,
yeah, he is awesome.
He works for Prince of Darkness. He works for Big Trouble in Little China, and for me, Big Trouble in China, it doesn't have to be this over the top kung fu movie. It just has to have hints towards it to keep us, entwined with the story, which is a lot about Chinese mythology and magic and things like that. The fact you put Kurt Russell in it and everybody mistakes Kurt Russell for the hero, like
I saw it in the cinema and I did. So
that's it. Well, it was only about 5 years ago. I watched a video and somebody was like, "Yeah, if you watch Big Trouble in Little China, he knocks himself out, he makes mistakes, he does this, he does that," and I'm like, "Oh shit, he does." Like he doesn't kill, like other than Lo Pan, and I wish I had it, but I also have the Big Trouble in Little China graphic novel as well, part 1, where not only does he meet up with Lo Pan again, but he meets up with the monster that you see on the back of the truck.
Becomes his friend. He's got friends.
Becomes his friend Petey, and that's his friend to drive around with him. It's just like, who makes this stuff? Seriously. Oh man. Well, my friend, I could talk to you all night, but I'm afraid the wrestling is going to be on in a few moments, and I have to hit my wrestling. I've got my beer. It's Friday night. It's wrestling time, I'm afraid. If you get a chance, AEW on ITV4. It'd be great if you get a chance to join our Discord. Our Discord is on all our YouTube links. Sorry, and we are always a welcoming community, even though it may get a bit sketchy sometimes because people have opinions and things like that. That's fine. Just come in. Everybody's a chauffeur. Obviously, I have to advertise. I have to advertise off the shelf reviews for anybody who is a fan of Gareth. Obviously, check out Video Tasties. You know, obviously more watch alongs as well. I don't know what films he's going to be doing. Hopefully, Grease 2 at some point. Grease 2 is obviously for me the greatest musical sequel of all time that everybody should watch. I want to thank you from myself and Gary Nichols as well. He's probably telling me off for allowing us on your show to obviously watch such a classic movie. And yeah, you know, like fist bump, motherfucker. Have a good one. Yeah, man. Boom, motherfucker. Playground Stars. You got to watch the thing. Got to watch Halloween. Got to watch Escape from New York. Christine. They Live. In the Mouth of Madness. Assault Precinct 13.
Is that it?
The fog's down there as well. The fog's down there as well. So yeah, from Off the Shelf Reviews and Video Tasties, fist bumps, everybody. Take it easy, my man.
Take it easy. Thanks, Snake.